everyone, welcome to FA channel with Paris. I'm Paris. For those of you come here the first time, that line I just posted at the beginning of the video lately have been hitting me really hard. And it's the reason why I want to share in this episode about the word belonging. For those of you who doesn't know me or first time come to see a video, welcome. And before I dive into the topic, I want to introduce myself and the reason why I want to make this episode. My name is Paris. Of course, Paris is not my real name. I mean, it's not the name that I was born with. I was born in China and I have a Chinese name, Zheng Xiaojing. But that name I haven't used for the past 20 years, almost 20 years, 19 years. I had the name when I was born until high school, and then I moved to Canada by myself using Paris, this name that I chose when I was in high school actually. When we're in high school, the English teacher asked everyone to choose their English name. It's just to get ourselves into this speaking English zone. So I've been using the name since I arrived Canada at 2003. Since then, all the people I know in Canada, all my friends that I have, all the strangers I met in Canada, everyone know me as Paris. Until I moved to Japan last year, I'm still Paris. Now I live here also as Paris, not my real name, which means I have two identities already, which is interesting because I don't see myself as Zheng Xiaoqing because that was me when I was a kid. I see myself as a teenager when I call myself that name, or when my parents call me that name. Of course, that's how they know me. They gave me that name. And I speak Chinese when I use that name most of the time. After leaving Canada from 2003 to last year, I create this new identity of myself, speaking English, learning the new language, try to get into the society, build my company, met my husband, all these things. I'm doing all this as Paris, who speaks English. For those of you who had been able to speak two languages and also fluent with both, you probably on the same boat with me that you realize when you speak two languages, sometimes you feel like you have two personalities. Not that you change how you behave, but more like the way you thinking is different. So the way you communicate is different. I have to say with English speaking, the language, the structure of the language is way more direct. So especially if I'm not born in Canada, I didn't speak English since I was a kid, and my parents don't speak English. So for me, maybe it's even because I'm not speaking as fluent as native, so I tend to find easier way to communicate with English, which is the perfect language to learn. So when I talk with friends, especially my husband, because he also speak Japanese as native and his English is second language. So when we talk to each other, we tend to we communicate with English really well as a couple. I think it's better for marriage if you speak second language, both speak second language, because you really just try to communicate in as direct as possible. You're not playing the game, you're not doing like this double underlying meaning stuff. I'm not sure, like let me know in comments what you feel. Do you have like international marriage that you both speak the second language? How does it feel for you? That being said, come to the concept of this word about belonging. Last year September, I moved to Japan. At the beginning of the first 6 months, I was just having so much fun and go out. I'm still going out a lot try to explore the city as a stranger, an outsider. And then for a period of time, I start to feel this panic feeling that I don't know where is my home. Because when I live in Canada, China is my home because my parents live there. My old friends, childhood friends, lives there. After I lived 18 years in Canada, I start to feel the concept of friend had been changing because it feels like all my friends are living in Canada. And then after I moved to Japan, I start to miss both countries, but also at the same time, I don't feel belong to any of those countries. My childhood friends are having it's hard to talk with them right now because our life is so different after 18 years living in completely different countries. And my friends in Canada, I really, really miss them. But at the same time, I don't feel Canada is my home. That makes sense? Because I never really feel belong there. I was an immigrant. I loved the country, but I was kind of a stranger, an outsider as well, even though I'm speaking the language. So when I moved to Japan, like I said, I was kind of panicking because I felt like I'm a stranger of the world. And for maybe for a month or two, I start to write journals every morning and to read a lot of philosophy books and try to figure out the answer or what make me feel this uncertainty. And then at the beginning, I realized I figured it's because I feel really depending on my husband when I move here because I don't know about the city. This is where he grew up, the Fusa in Tokyo. Like the city here is completely strange for me. So I pushed myself to start this new playlist called Tokyo in 2 minutes. It's me exploring the city and making videos. 2 minutes of the art shows I go, the new culture event I go. The reason why I want to make this, of course, I sometimes go with friends, but I also want to push myself to go out by myself. Even I get lost in the city, I tend to just, like whatever, get lost. I will figure out a way to come back to feel the sense of control and also to feel this feeling of independence. It really worked. Once I start to do that, I start to feel like, I'm a stranger. And it kind of remind me when I just moved to Canada. I know nothing about the city, but I try to be the individual that stays in the country, try to know the culture, try to understand, also try to see it as an outsider, analyzing without feel the sense of belonging. And it makes me feel this freedom that I want to talk about a lot in this video. When you there are two things I want to mention. The two things I want to emphasize. First of all, in Tokyo, a lot of people speak English or they try to speak English with you. So I don't feel that a stranger or that much difficult when I go out in the city. A lot of people, most people are super friendly. I love Tokyo. It's just such a mixture of modern and futuristic and traditional. It's like a perfect combine. And another thing I want to mention is more particular to my experience. Japan is such a interesting country that have both Asian and Western culture, which is the combination of China and Canada. You can see a lot of Western influence here. Also, you can see a lot of traditional influence from China. So I somehow feel like Japan is more like my home, but I don't not speak any of the language here. It's really crazy that somehow at the beginning it's like messed up my brain a little bit. But one day, I don't know if it's that a particular day or that period of time, not too far from now, maybe a month ago, I woke up And I just feel this really strong sense of liberation. I feel like I don't belong anywhere. I I'm just individual, have like complete freedom because there's no social expectation. There's no social expectations. There's no people perceive me as certain me, Paris or Xiaoqing, whatever my name is. I'm just me, so I can create whatever I want of myself in this new country. And have the complete freedom of making a new me. I may not need a new Japanese name, but that's how I feel. And that's why I want to emphasize this sentence from the book I learned about existentialism. Existentialism, does that make sense? Is that a correct pronunciation? Anyway, that's just a tons of book that I read, and then tons of videos I've watched. Then I find the position of me existing in the society, having a sense of control, independence, also a liberating feeling. I don't know what you feel about your life. At this moment, I feel extremely happy and liberated. I'm not coming here for this channel, using my channel to search any kind of agree. Like people tell me, I agree with you, that's how I feel. I know a lot of my audience are content creators, artists, who maybe don't really want to feel this sense of belonging, or maybe you guys want to belong and you know where you belong, and then you have a deeper understanding of the feeling. Please share with me on the comment. I like to hear more about. I just want to have a conversation about this. Another thing I want to talk about is this social pressure about hustling. So the biggest culture shock, or a fact that I realized in Japan, is a lot of people working really, really hard. You probably already know that if you ever come to Japan, every customer service is top customer service. And another shocking fact I realized is a lot of people, after, especially male, after they retire, they don't know what to do. So they start to do a lot of volunteer works or community works that pays very little amount of money. Seriously concentrated on working, because their work ethic, it's more like, in Japan, it's more like working hard is the identity. Working hard gives them meaning of the life. That's another topic I want to dive into after I live here more, little bit longer, because at this moment I still have not that deeper realization of it. I've never worked in Japan, so I don't really know exactly how people feel. I have friends who live in Japan, work in Japan, that are really stressed about work. I also have friends who are Japanese, live in Canada, try to escape this working environment, or more like against it. So I don't think I have a deeper understanding of it yet. But for me, what I've experienced is at the beginning of the time when I stay here, I do feel a big pressure of hustling. I really want to work hard for nothing. We have project come once in a while, because we have our own business. But the beginning of the beginning of the year when I come here, I feel like I'm really stressed of doing nothing. For example, we have a chair out on the balcony. We sit there to have coffee. Sometimes I sit and read. And nobody does that in Japan. And people watching me sometimes, like, I don't understand, but the fact of having a coffee on your balcony and just sit in the park. When you sit in the park, by the way, sometimes police will check your ID card. I've never experienced that, but That's what I heard from my husband. So the concept of just relaxing, chilling, doing nothing seems like not a really good thing here. So I start to talk about it with my husband. It's like, why we're so stressed at the beginning? And then we realize it is the social pressure that we got from Japan. So the fact of me realize myself as an outsider all the time and not to be pressured by the social norms is also another realization. And I want to continue dig into it, kind of think about why this works. What about the hustle culture in Canada? What's the culture? What's the social expectations right there? So the point of making this video is perhaps I can give a bit suggestion about people who feel a big pressure from society or big pressure from nowhere, you don't know. And ask yourself, is it really the pressure that helps you grow, or is the pressure from some social expectations around you that you didn't realize that is toxic? Maybe that's something I want to emphasize here. Of course, my experience is different than a lot of people, and I'm lucky enough that I don't have to hustle a lot to start to build something in Japan, or I don't have to find a job here to have to hustle, you know what I mean? But maybe as a creator, especially for a lot of my audience out there, maybe it's good to step outside, see yourself completely as a free individual, doesn't belong anywhere, and then not seeking for any confirmation or agreement. Then you probably will start to feel this true freedom that you can create whatever you want, make the value you think is most important for you, and ask yourself, the work you're doing or the things you're choosing, is that truly from who you are, what you really want, or is from the social status or any kind of expectations you don't know about? That's it for my video. If I think about anything else I want to share, I will continue post videos like this. If you like it, please like and subscribe my channel. I don't really have a specific tagline for my channel, because having a YouTube channel for me is really to experience me, my life, my value, the things I see. But the core is to host inspiring content that perhaps with a lot of content creators and artists right in the world looking for inspiration. That's what I'm trying to do. And also I'm trying to, because of my experience, I want to share more of my thoughts. And then if you're interested in the book I'm reading, I'll put a link on description. And I like to hear what you think and your experience of living in different countries, how you think about your identity. Do you feel like the sense of belonging? Do you feel the pressure from society? That's something I'm interested in. My other videos with Future is Now, Tokyo in 2 minutes, Paris in Tokyo, all the videos I've created, I want more, it's like practice of my artistic style. Also the fun and inspiring experience I have in the new country. Cool, that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys in the next video. Take care. Bye.